Beginning with the former Delta State Governor, Okowa, saying he regrets accepting to run as vice presidential candidate alongside Atiku Abubakar in the 2023 elections. Okowa said the decision taken at the federal level by the People's Democratic Party did not reflect the sentiments of his people. Speaking on the Arise Morning Show on Tuesday, the former governor said he has deeply reflected on the consequences of that choice. He admitted that the South had hoped to produce a successor to President Muhammadu Buhari, but the PDP's leadership chose a different path. Let's take a look.
The issue about the presidential election was such that as of 2023, it was a question of North-South politics. You are very much aware of it, that it was a question of North-South politics. The people of the South were likely interested in a Southerner coming in as president after Buhari's tenure. Yes, I ran under my party as vice presidential candidate because I belonged to that political family, and at that time, it was the best choice. But I did realize, even when we were campaigning, that people were not interested in having another Northerner coming into power at that 2023. And that became a major factor for me. But a decision had been taken at the federal level, at a party level, and I had already been nominated vice presidential candidate.
Well, let's take a look at some of your reactions, Professor Imonoka's tweet. And it was quite long, but we'll just try to see how we can take it real quick. He says, whether politically correct or selfish, Okowa's statement is undoubtedly calculated. Nigerian politics rarely rewards humility unless it serves a purpose. His regret may be an olive branch to aggrieved factions, a reset for his own political brand, or simply a case of trying to rewrite history before others do it for him. Either way, it reflects the volatile and strategic nature of elite political survival here in Nigeria, where alliances are fluid and accountability often gives way to positioning. History goes on to say, on the other hand, there are signs this could be motivated by personal political survival. PDP poorly performed in 2023. Okowa may now be distancing himself from Atiku to avoid being tied to a failed campaign. With 2027, the cycle already bubbling, this might be a tactical move to remain relevant, either to rejoin local politics, pivot towards national office again, or secure a realignment whichever camp emerges stronger. It could also be an attempt to reshape his legacy, deflecting blame for electoral outcomes. Now, I think in everything that, Okowa has said, nothing surprises me. Whether it's his regret, whether it's defection, it's all politics. And we've seen this happen on a global stage as well. Situations where you ignore the base. You ignore certain facts that are salient to your success. For instance, what he said about ignoring the fact that his people were not in support of the Northern movement, of the North push. And he said, despite that, he went on to side with Atiku as a vice presidential candidate. Also understanding that in places like Italy, Matteo had also come out at some point to say, okay, mistakes have been made. I want to see how I can rebuild my image under a different brand. And I think that's exactly what he's trying to do. The fact is, it still boils down to PDP and their structure, their sustainability. There is no faith or hope in the fact that PDP has any chance in 2027. So it doesn't come as a surprise to me, or I don't even think it's a personal thing. It's just expected. If you look at Jeremy Corbyn, the UK's Labour, there were a lot of ideological rift. There were a lot of people defecting as well. When a party is unstable, people are bound to pivot.
Okay, Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa was a guest on this program yesterday, and we asked him most of these questions. Number one, it was established clearly that people have the right under the Nigerian Constitution. Freedom of thought, freedom of assembly, freedom of choice, freedom of speech. So politicians will always say, well, they can make their own choice. Now, the people who have commented on the interview with Senator Patrick Okowa, they are in two categories. There are persons who have said, well, he was very clever in answering all the questions. That, he tried to justify whatever he has done. There are persons, particularly members of the PDP. Today we have had Alhaji Baraje, on this program. We have had Chief Dele Momodu, who have both said that, look, that an Okowa will leave the PDP is shocking, and that they think that he's doing it for purposes of opportunism. So that's another view, within that spectrum. But, he was telling us yesterday that this is about my people. That, look, the people in Delta State, they are taking a decision. Yeah, we were here when one other governor, I think one governor, was saying, my people, my people, my people, my people. Politicians will always tell you that is their people. And that was why I posed the question to Senator Okowa yesterday that, okay, these are your people. What is their voice in this matter? Where were they consulted? What is the, guarantee, the proof that the people of Delta State generally have said they are moving from one political party to the other? He said, well, leaders are supposed to lead. We will consult with them and all that. A posteriori. That's what a politician will say. But what is the latest in this matter is that the acting chairman of the PDP, Ambassador Damagum, is now saying that the party is going to go after those members that have left the party, particularly those amongst them that can be taken to court. Because we always say that, look, the party, the position belongs to the party. Can they invoke Section 68 of the Constitution, 109, 1G of the Constitution, and take those Delta State lawmakers who may have joined in this defection to court? Let's test the law again and again. Let's test it. Then, as for Senator Oberewori, earlier this morning on this same program, I cited the example of Abubakar Rimi. If I'm wrong, I would like to be contradicted and, properly advised. When he left the People's Redemption Party, PRP, in 1983, and he jumped to the MPP, the Nigerian People's Party, he resigned. Abubakar Rimi, as governor of Kano State, said, look, I won this election on the platform of the PRP. I think I've disagreed with PRP. I'm going to another party. Take your governorship. We are asking for men of character, men of dignity, men of conscience. And that is why principle, ideology should be important to Nigerian politicians. Not to just, rely on opportunism and say, okay, I'm governor. The Constitution is silent on whether or not you stay in a particular political party. And the summum bonum of it is that we still need to reform the electoral process. We still need to review certain sections of the Constitution in relation to our electoral process that will place emphasis on character, and that politicians will have the confidence, political parties will have the confidence to test the law in the courts of law. It's not enough to say, oh, they also defect in other countries of the world. No, that's solipsism. That's not enough. Can we test the law? And can we have more people who can stand up confidently, like Abubakar Rimi of Wood, and say, well, I think this is a moral question, and this is where I stand in this matter.
Absolutely, Bimbai.
Absolutely. The other day I went through the definition of democracy. And democracy itself is a Greek word. Demos meaning people, kratos meaning power. Democracy is supposed to be a system of government that gives the people power. But when we see all these, musical chairs that's happening with regards to political positioning, it's unfortunate because what in essence it does is it steals the mandate from the people. We act surprised when there's huge voter apathy, and it's not necessarily about the election process itself. Democracy is not just about election day, it's about what happens in between. So yes, I understand that, defections are a part of life, a part of politics globally. But what happens between election cycles is, for me, what's most imperative. What are the ideologies? We're trying to hold the current administration accountable for various things. Let's take an example from the United States, where Donald Trump celebrated 100 days in office. It's very easy to take a look at Donald Trump's election promises and look at what he has done in 100 days and give him a scorecard to say, well, based off of X, Y, and Z, this is what his score is. Are we able to do the same here? Yesterday, Senator Okowa said something, deeply profound and revealing, but he said it so simply. He said, there's no ideology. Everyone is just looking for a vehicle that can give them power. And for me, it was shocking that a vice presidential candidate could sit boldly and say, there's no idea. We all had. He said all of our manifestos were the same in 2023, which is, it's just a revelation of where we stand. And it's unfortunate because we truly do need people who stand for something bigger than I want to be in power. But this is where we are now. In another breath, a senator representing Benue South, Abamoro, has also said, well, the PDP also regrets choosing you as a vice presidential candidate. Maybe the PDP is now realizing that it's possible that if they'd just given the ticket to Nyesom Wike, things could have turned out differently. Who knows? Who knows?
Well, I think this also explains why there are a lot of things are the way they are in Nigeria. Because whereas, ideally, on the surface end, generally, these things should not be an issue, but it's always the intent, it's always the motive. What are you moving for? Is it for personal gain or, like you said, for the people's benefit?